Hey guys, it's me, Mr.250, and welcome back to Umineko. I did think it was weird last time that the letter was still stamped with the head's ring, while the ring was inside the envelope. And someone suggested, well, you know, it's probably just a reused image. You know what I say to you? I say, no, because that's not nearly as exciting. But yeah, that's probably true. Anyway, so let's continue with the game now. The rain was still pouring down as hard as ever. This weather was supposed to continue all day tomorrow as well, which made me feel a bit depressed. Oh wait, given the time, that's today, not tomorrow. But that doesn't really matter now. I'm sleepy. With half-asleep eyes, I opened my umbrella. The large drops of rain pounded against it mercilessly. Technically, the end of the family conference had been proclaimed at 1 a.m., but external scuffles kept continuing sluggishly. I'm really jealous of Rosa Obasan, who managed to slip out of there at that time. She cleverly got away by saying that she'd check up on Maria, who might have been staying up too late. Dad caught me. I missed my chance to escape. And they made me stick around until now, 3 a.m. After all this time, what have they decided on? They haven't decided on anything. They just kept on arguing about who said what, like elementary school kids. I'm sure that they're tired too. I'm sure that's why they keep dragging on with the same pointless questions. I no longer felt any shock or anger towards them. I guess no painkiller works better than drowsiness. I left them behind and finally returned to the guest house. When I returned to the guest house, the first floor lounge was lit. Not only that, I could even hear people chatting inside. Apparently some people were still awake this late. Despite this late hour, Goda-san and Dr. Nanjo were still awake and chatting. Plates and cups were lined up on the counter, and it looked almost like a bar with Goda-san as the bartender. When they noticed that I had returned, they apparently finally realized how late it was. When Goda-san made to top off Dr. Nanjo's glass, Dr. Nanjo declined with an exaggerated gesture.
もう結構です。この時間では夜更かしのしすぎだ。
もうこんな時間とは。南條先生があまりにお話がお上手なもので、ついつい。
それを言ったらあんたの酒の魚のおかげだ。また別の機会に一杯やりましょう。
喜んで。バトラー様、お帰りなさいませ。まだ旦那様方の会議は続いておりますか？
あの調子でぐだぐだと明け方までやるんだろうぜ。知ったことじゃねえぜ。
I spoke carelessly with a big yawn.
皆さん、案外体力びっくりです。
なんだ、お前までいたのか。
なんとなく流れでこちらでささやかな夜会が始まったもので混ぜてもらっていました。例のことは話してませんのでご安心を。
Erica could be seen on the sofa. She had taken her shoes off and was lounging around as though she owned the place.
エリカ様も本当にいろいろなお話をご存知で、とても楽しく聞かせていただきました。
あんたは本当に博識だ。若いのに大したもんだよ。
どういたしまして。
Every time she makes that face, it makes me annoyed and uncomfortable.
フルドエリカはこの程度には博識ですので。
Erica grabbed the corners of her skirt and posed. This was somewhat less than graceful considering she was lounging on the sofa with her feet up.
ローザおばさんは
午前の1時頃にお戻りになりましたが、すぐに上がられ、 お休みになられました。
That's probably true. After taking part in that conference for so long, I feel like flopping down in bed right away myself. I've had it. I'm tired enough that I might flop over right here.
さあ、私たちもこれくらいにしましょう。郷田さんも明日の朝食の準備で朝が早いのでしょう。
朝食の仕込みはすでに済んでおります。どうぞ明日の朝食も大いにご期待いただければ幸いです。
In Goda-san's eyes, the family conference is an open stage on which to display his culinary skills. Maybe this invigorates him so much that he doesn't even get sleepy. Erica stood up, laughing at how youthful Goda was. This became a sign that it was time to disperse.
お片付けは私の方でしておきます。どうぞ皆様はお休みを。
Leaving the cleanup to Goda-san, I went to the bathroom and then climbed the stairs to the second floor.
それでは皆さん、おやすみなさい。老骨にはちと夜更かしが過ぎましたな。
おやすみなさい、南條先生。おやすみなさい、バトラさん。
おう。おやすみ。
Then, in the second floor hallway, we split up. Dr. Nanja went to his own room. Erica went to her room. And I returned to the cousin's room. I couldn't hear any sounds of playing come from the cousin's room. Could they have fallen asleep already? No surprise at this time of night. If they were still playing, they would have been staying up way too late. When I opened the door quietly, as expected, the room was already pitch black except for a small nightlight. Everyone was already sleeping in their beds. I'm sure they all had a great time and played a ton. Then they'd probably talked about youthful things and enjoyed staying up late. If only I hadn't found the gold, I could have enjoyed my time with them. I'm already tired, so tired. Forgetting even to change my clothes or brush my teeth, I crawled into bed and immediately started to fall into the marshes of sleep. Today's been so insane. I wonder if that old man is still in that family conference now. How does he not get tired? Come to think of it, what was it that old man said when we parted company?
明日、家族で重要な話がしたい。
Assuming I'm still alive.
お前に関わることだ。
Assuming you're still alive. I'm sure it's more stuff about being the successor to the head. I don't even want to hear about it.
こいつを話せば、俺は殺されるだろうな。
I'll kill you whenever you want, the old man. And then, what was it he said next?
お前の生まれについての話だ。
My birth? That's not cryptic at all. Probably just something about the noble Ushirmiya lineage. Not interested. Just let me sleep. The sound of crashing waves. The sound of the tide surging. The noise of the sea breeze. Whenever my headache torments me, these are the sounds that fill my head. Unable to bear a successor, I was in a very difficult position with regards to the Ushirimiya family. Whenever I heard of a drug or incense that could make you achieve pregnancy, I tried it. But nothing I tried had any effect. Until I was blessed with Jessica 18 years ago. I was ashamed to even call myself a wife.
こうなすのは二人の努力と天の気まぐれ。そなたばかりが責められたのでは割が合わぬな。
何が原因で解任できなかったのかは今となっては分かりません。名医のもとにも通いました。屈辱的な検査も受けました。しかしいつも理由は分からないと言われるだけでした。
結婚から短くない時間を経て未だ子を宿せない。なるほどな。次期当主を密かに狙うエヴァが首をもたげぬわけもない。
Eva tried to convince father that I was a failure as a future head's wife. It was a time when Kinzo was also very disappointed in my husband's repeated business failures. On the other hand, Eva's husband Hideyoshi's business was growing well, completely the opposite of my husband's business. He was the only person who could bring father good news. In that case, perhaps there could be no blame placed on father if he decided to lend an ear to Eva's words. Or even accept them completely. It was all my fault, because I couldn't bear a child.
そなたに罪などない。この国の赤ん坊はコウノトリが運んでくるのであろうが、裁かれるならそれはコウノトリになるのが道理というものよ。
ありがとう。しかしいくら当時はまだご健康とはいえ、すでにご高齢の当主様が早く孫の顔を見たいと思われていたことは想像に難くありません。
知るか。孫が欲しくばうなるほど持っている金で好きにすればよかろうに。金で生み出せぬものはないと豪語した金蔵だ。孫が欲しくば自慢の金で何とかすればよいものを。
ええ、そうです。当主様、子を宿せぬ私を見限られ、その通りになされたのです。
Thinking it the duty of anyone in possession of large amounts of money, the head gave a lot to charities. One among these, the orphanage known as the Fuking House, had been given an especially large donation, possibly because he had old ties with that place.
ああ、福音の家か。よくあそこから家具どもがやってきていたな。
There was secretly a sweatshop where they made chairs.
当主様は社会活動と職業訓練の一環として福音の家の子たちの中から成績優秀な子を使用人として受け入れていました。当家にいるシャノンやカノン、ルノンやマノン、レノンなどの音の名を持つ使用人はすべてそこからやってきた子たちでした。
いろいろな連中がいたな。多くはほんの数年で辞めるがな。
当家の給金は数年も働けば十分社会で生活していけるだけたまるでしょうし、後宮家での使用人経験は履歴書に通用する立派な肩書きになります。それを得て社会へ羽ばたいてくれれば当主様もきっと本望だったでしょ
う。なるほど、養子か。
お父様、今何とおっしゃいましたか。
この赤子を我が孫として迎えよ。
おお、よしよしよしよしよしよしよしよしよし。よしよしよし。
Apparently the baby Kumasawa was trying to soothe didn't like the air in the study at all. It kept on crying, displeased.
申し訳ありません。私には何をおっしゃって。
この赤子を我が孫として迎えよ。そしてクラウスの後を継ぐ者として育てるの
だ。それはつまり私と夫の子として育 おっしゃるのですか？
そうだ。お前に子が宿せぬことはもはや明白。
This wouldn't by chance be the mysterious caller, would it?
お前の体には何かしらの問題があるに違いない。
おー、よしよしよしよしよし。おー、よしよしよしよしよし。
As though she couldn't hear our discussion in the slightest. Kumasawa kept on persistently trying to cuddle the baby. This made its crying get even louder. That's because your ush 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 is really annoying.
女の責任だけで子が産めるなら、この世に男など必要ないわ。
あの日の悔しさを忘れたことはありません。私とて子が欲しくなかったわけがない。でもいくら祈ろうとも身ごもれないのです。私の体に原因があるのではないかといくつもの名医を訪ね歩きました。しかしそれでもいくら努力しても身ごもれなかったのです。
その挙句がこの仕打ちではな。察するぞ。
The baby had been picked up by the Fukin house just recently. Of course, she couldn't help but feel compassion for the child, who was so young and who had already lost its parents' affection. However, it brought me nothing but pain and sadness. It would have been another story if I had suffered to bear this child. But why did I have to hold this baby, who not only shared none of my blood, but who was not related to my husband in the slightest either?
お父様を恨んではいません。もし恨めるのなら、ただただ自分の体が恨めしかった。憎かったんです。子を宿せぬ我が身がひたすらに憎かった。だから私は祈りました。天使と悪魔の両方に。そしてその両方が叶いました。
天使には何と祈ったか。
私の体に奇跡を。私の体に問題があるというならそれを受け入れましょう。ならばそれを克服してどうか夫の子を授かることのできる奇跡を私に。
その願いは叶った。あなたはその次の年に見事にジェシカを産むことになる。
そして悪魔には何と祈ったか。
悔しい悔しい、この身が恨めしい。そしてそれを見せつけるかのようなこの赤ん坊が憎かったんです。
何を願われたのですか？
私は初めて悪魔に祈りました。願いこの赤ん坊が消えてなくなってしまえばいいのにって。
Well, making babies disappear works pretty well on a deserted island. Of course, that wish was also granted by demons. On that day, I left the baby with an older servant and went to think about the future in the rose garden. No, that's a lie. I didn't want to think about anything. The baby's cries were annoying, so I ordered the servant to take the baby to a place where I couldn't hear. By a place where I couldn't hear, I meant somewhere far away. Yes, I wished. I wished for the servant to take the baby far away and never return. I bet that is the mysterious collie then.
雪吊りの悪魔が夏日様のその願いを聞いてしまったのですな。
してどうなったのか。
それは悪魔が願いを叶えてくれたとしか思えない奇妙な事故でした。
The woodland path from the rose garden to the harbor is probably well suited for a comfortable walk. It must surely feel good to occasionally leave the path and walk through a grove of trees, depending on your mood. However, wouldn't that path be fairly hard to travel on when taking a walk with a baby in your arms?
その先は断崖でした。高さは多分 10メートルく
And
らい
they threw the baby off the cliff?
下は岩場。
Oh, how tragic.
そこには柵もあったのです。その使用人はわざわざそんなところまで赤ん坊を抱いたまま歩いていき、
I'll make sure this baby never cries again.
そして柵に寄りかかったとでも言うのでしょうか。まるで悪魔に手招きされて誘われたとしか思えない。
誘われちゃったのね。あなたの願いを聞いた悪魔がその使用人を招いちゃったんだわ。
それではその使用人と赤ん坊は。
Oh, both of them?
死にました。
Wow, that's tragic. You couldn't even get rid of the baby. You had to get rid of the servant too?
崖から転落して下の岩場に。
It's a good thing this is like 19 whatever and they don't have to worry about the media covering that.
いえ、私が願ったから死んだ。だからこれは
そなたのせいではない。その先を考える必要はないぞ。
でも私が願ったから。
いいや、違う。願えども叶えるか否かは神と悪魔と魔女の気まぐれ。そなたに罪はない。人間に罪はない。
You sure about that?
わらわが殺したことにしてもよい。いや、わらわが殺した。嘆くそなたを不憫に思い、わらわが赤子を連れた使用人を崖へいざない、その下に導いたのだ。
不幸な事故があっただけではありませんか。事故で納得がいかなくば我らの仕業に。そのための悪魔でございますよ。
そうだわ。
There's dang demons causing people to fall off cliffs?
私たちはそのためにいるのだもの。あなたが殺したわけもない。
Don't worry, there'll be a sick action sequence here later.
私たちが殺したのよ。だからあなたには何の罪もない。だからどうか自身を責めないで、夏日。
そうでしょうか。本当に私に罪はないのでしょうか。
ああ、ないぞ。19年前の復讐を名乗るワーコードめ。呪うならわらわを呪うがよいわ。しかし呪うは魔女の専売特許よ。夏日に売りしその喧嘩、わらわが買おうではないか。
Is she talking directly to the phone caller guy?
わらわは後宮家顧問錬金術師。
That was kind of spooky, break the fourth wall. Sort of.
使えし主に売りし喧嘩はわらわが買おうぞ。19年前の復讐とな。1000年の魔女の前にその程度の年月、瞬きにも足りぬと知れ。19年前にそなたの死を願った夏日が憎いか。思い出させてやろうぞ。そなたを崖下へ誘ったのは誰かをな。
As the middle-aged servant cuddled the sobbing baby, she walked in a small path through the trees. Natsui had told her that the baby was too loud, so she tried to get as far away from the rose garden as she could. Got on a jet plane, flew to the other side of the world, called it a day. She was completely unaware as to why she'd gone out of her way to head in this direction. However, the sobbing baby suddenly stopped crying. Something was reflected in its eyes, but the servant couldn't tell what. However, thinking that the baby had stopped because it had taken an interest in something, she headed in the direction of the baby's gaze. The baby had seen a group of gold butterflies disappearing off into the trees. And on the other side of the trees, the servant could see a woman. Who? She didn't recognize this person, but it didn't look like anyone who was supposed to be here. The baby stopped crying and stared in that direction. Then the servant's legs started to automatically carry her that way.
こちらへ来い、女。その呪われた赤子を抱いてな。
Nah, the woman couldn't disobey. She was completely overwhelmed by Beto's gold glowing eyes. She walked lightly, as though through a dream world. At some point the scenery around her had changed. But she did not notice. She could not notice. Though this should have been Rokenjima, at some point it had become a garden of a mansion she'd never seen before. It was a garden she'd never seen before, even grander than the great rose garden of the Ushiramiya family. A garden of gold roses. There stood an arbor, and a woman wearing an elegant dress beckoning her. There was a man who looked like a butler, and the tea he poured with a beautiful gesture had a very nice and enticing smell. It was as though they were telling her to join their tea party. She couldn't disobey. She had to go to the master of this golden rose garden and give this child as an offering.
許せ、女。魔女に見入られた不運を呪え。そして、この世で決してめでることかなわぬ黄金のバラに囲まれながら眠れ、ガープ。
はい、了解。
When Gap snapped her fingers, a pitch black hole opened at the woman's feet, and she was swallowed up along with the baby. Then the scene of the next moment after that probably burned itself into the eyes of the woman and the baby. The two floated in the air and looked down at the gold rose garden spread out below them. So this is like slide whistle sounds almost. Below their feet was not the earth, but a golden rose garden which stretched as far as the eye could see without any interruptions. If one could have this scene imprinted in their minds as their last memory, that would be such a merciful way to die. Then the woman and the baby were swallowed up by the golden sea. The thunk was remarkably plain, and remarkably quiet for the sound that stole the life away from the two of them. However, that was perfectly suitable for the entertainment at a tea party of witches. With the woman and the baby at the center, the rose garden was slowly swallowed up by darkness. The sound of the wind grew stronger bit by bit. Is that TV static? What is that noise? It was the roar of the sea. The two who had fallen into the thicket of golden roses from that great height and died were gradually wrapped up in the roar of the sea, wrapped up in the scenery of the beach below the cliff.
わらわが保証するぞ。そなたには何の罪もない。19年前の復讐とやらはこのわらわが買おうぞ。
崖下の2人を見つけ、私は青ざめました。そしてお屋敷へ駆け戻り、大騒ぎになりました。大至急船で病院に運びましたが、あの高さで即死を免れただけでも奇跡。
Ow. I thought they were dead.
使用人も、そして赤ん坊も。私はお父様から赤子を預けられ、3日も経ないうちに。
Worst mother ever. She's even worse than Rosa. Can't even keep a baby alive for 3 days.
主人は出張中でした。当時まだお屋敷にお住まいだったローザさんもご友人と旅行中でした。六軒島には私とお父様しかいなかった。そして私とお父様以外誰もよく知らぬ間にどこからともなく赤ん坊が現れ、そして消えていった。あれはそう夢なのよ。悪夢。 お父様は私を責めるに違いないと思っていました。しかし何か様子がおかしかった。
読めていたぞ、読めていたぞ、この天罰はな。
You did?
どこまであがくのか、どこまで我が物にならぬというのか。からの俺に興味はない。打ち捨てい。
We always thought Grandpa was a little weird after that. When Father learned of the accidental death, he kept on laughing and laughing, as though there could be no greater pleasure. Enough that just listening to it gave me a creepy feeling. Perhaps something had come loose in his mind. From that day onwards, Father shut himself up inside the world of the occult even more than he had ever before. When my husband came back, he was surprised to see that father was even more bizarre than he had been before. However, he had already accepted that this would happen sooner or later. Of course, my husband had heard about the baby. However, he told me that it was surely just some whim of Father's, and to forget it. So I forgot it. Yeah, I forgot it! It was an unfortunate accident. No, there wasn't an accident at all. I forgot everything, even that the baby had existed in the first place. After all, it was a twisted nightmare which lasted not even 3 days. That's right, it was all a nightmare. I don't want to remember. The cliff, the broken fence, the roar of the sea, and the cry of the baby.
その赤ん坊が19年前の赤ん坊だと？
くだらぬ。わらわが殺した。
Of course not.
すでにこの世にはおらぬわ。
しかし赤き真実なきが人間の世界。人間の世界に信用できることなどありません。
そうね。ベアトは確かに殺したわ。でも人間の世界では生きていることになっているのかもしれない。本当に生きているのかどうかはともかくね。
実は生きていたというのですか？あの高さからあの岩場に転落して。
わからぬ。だが落ち着け。そやつがどうそなたを憎もうとも真実は事故だ。そなたを恨もうなどお門違いもいいところよ。
でもたとえ指一本触れていないとしても私は心の中で。
落ち着け。19年前の男が何を恨もうと叫ぼうとそなたを追及できる罪などあるわけもない。だから落ち着け。19年前の男はわらわの来客として迎えてやろう。気分の謎を解かれお役はごめんかと思っていた矢先だ。わらわの最後の客としてもてなしてやらねばな。
面白くなってまいりましたな。ゴールドスミス教の秘密を守るのに加え19人目の来客。
Definitely agree, it is getting interesting, isn't it?
そうね。金蔵が生きてると主張する私たちにとってその19人目の駒に19年前の男。面白いじゃない。ワクワクするわ。
相手にとって不足なし。わらわの茶会の来客が一人では物足りないと思っていたところよ。来るがよい。
Fruto Erica is Lady Berncastell's piece. In that case, whose piece is the man from 19 years ago? Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Are we getting close to that point? Somebody's told me when it would be good for a stream. That was a little bit ago, like a week or so ago I was told about that, but I'm just wondering. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more Umineko. Bye!